This is an AI avatar of Lesix founder Rob Lee, script produced using a custom-trained AI employee in Claude, video produced using HeyGen. Now let's begin. Have you ever hosted an open house where you were still setting up signs as the first guests arrived? Or maybe you've thrown a client appreciation event that felt rushed because you didn't allow enough time for setup. If you're nodding your head right now, you're not alone. Event planning in real estate is something we all do regularly, but few of us have mastered the art of creating effective timelines that make these events stress-free and successful. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to create perfect event timelines for any real estate scenario. Whether you're planning an open house, a property launch, or a client appreciation event, you'll learn a system that will save you time, reduce stress, and create more successful outcomes. By the end of this video, you'll understand why proper timelines matter, what components make them effective, which tools can help you create them efficiently, how to avoid common planning mistakes, and how to adapt your approach for different types of events. Let's get started. Why event timelines matter in real estate. Let's first talk about why having structured timelines is so crucial in our business. Think about it this way. As real estate professionals, we're constantly juggling multiple priorities. Client meetings, property showings, listing presentations, and market research all compete for our attention. When we add events into this mix without proper planning, we're setting ourselves up for unnecessary stress and potentially disappointing results. A well-crafted event timeline does three critical things for you. First, it ensures nothing falls through the cracks. When every task has its place in your schedule, you won't find yourself at midnight before your open house realizing you forgot to order refreshments. Second, it creates space for quality engagement. If you're not frantically handling last-minute details during your event, you can actually focus on what matters, connecting with potential clients or nurturing existing relationships. And third, it maximizes your ROI. Events cost money and time. A proper timeline helps ensure you're getting the most value from both these investments. Take Barbara Johnson, a San Diego-based realtor featured in NAR's Event Marketing Guide. After implementing structured 6-week countdown schedules for her open houses, she saw attendance increase by 45%. Why? Because her systematic approach allowed for strategic marketing touchpoints, timely reminder systems, and eliminated that last-minute scrambling we're all familiar with. The results? More meaningful client interactions and better conversion rates. So, timelines aren't just about organization. They directly impact your bottom line. Now let's break down what actually goes into an effective event timeline. A complete timeline needs to cover 3 distinct phases: pre-event, day of event, and post-event. Most agents focus heavily on the day of details, but underestimate the importance of proper preparation and follow-up. For pre-event planning, work backward from your event date. Depending on the size and importance of your event, you'll want to start anywhere from 8 weeks to 2 weeks in advance. Your pre-event timeline should include initial planning and concept development, venue selection and booking, the marketing material creation, promotional schedule, when you'll send emails, social posts, and direct mail, vendor coordination, RSVP tracking, reminder systems. For day of scheduling, be extremely specific about timing. I recommend creating an hour-by-hour breakdown that includes setup time, always allocate more than you think you need, team briefing, specific role assignments, key moments during the event, breakdown and cleanup. Post-event activities are often overlooked, but critical for converting your effort into results. Thank you messages within 24-48 hours. Follow up with interested parties. Content creation from event photos, videos. Evaluation of what worked and what didn't. Let me pause here and emphasize something important. The most effective timelines include buffer time. Things will go wrong or take longer than expected. Build in extra time, especially before the event start, to handle unexpected issues without throwing off your entire schedule. Let's talk practical tools now. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time you plan an event. There are numerous digital and physical tools that can streamline this process considerably. For digital options, consider Google Calendar or Outlook for basic scheduling. Project management tools like Trello, Asana, or Monday.com for more complex events. Real estate-specific CRMs that often include event planning modules, apps like Eventbrite or Paperless Post that handle invitations and can sync with your calendar. If you prefer physical planning, consider dedicated event planning notebooks, wall calendars specifically for event visualization, color-coded sticky notes for different categories of tasks. The Williams team from Chicago, featured in Inman News, transformed their client appreciation events using standardized timeline templates. They created specific task schedules for 3-month, 1-month, 2-week, and day-before intervals. The result? They reduced costs by 37% and increased client attendance by 28%. Why? Because their standardized approach meant they weren't starting from scratch each time. They refined their process with each event, making incremental improvements rather than reinventing the wheel. I strongly recommend creating your own template library based on events you regularly host. A standard open house timeline, a client appreciation event timeline, a property launch timeline, a broker open house timeline. Once you have these templates, you can quickly adapt them for specific events rather than starting from zero. This approach saves tremendous time and ensures you benefit from your own experience and lessons learned. Now let's talk about what can go wrong with event timelines and how to prevent these issues. Riz Media documented how a Charleston-based brokerage called Coastal Properties recovered from a disastrous property launch by implementing better timeline practices. What went wrong for them initially? Several common mistakes that many of us make. First, they underestimated setup time. What they thought would take 2 hours actually required 4, leaving them scrambling as guests arrived. Second, they had no contingency plans. When a vendor delivered items late and weather became an issue, they had no backup strategy. Third, they created a timeline but didn't share it effectively with team members and vendors, creating confusion about responsibilities. Fourth, they scheduled everything too tightly, with no buffer between activities, so one delay cascaded into multiple problems. Here's how to avoid these common pitfalls. For setup time, follow this rule of thumb. Estimate how long you think setup will take, then double it. This extra padding will save you tremendous stress. For contingency planning, ask yourself, what if this goes wrong? For each major element of your event. Have a backup plan, especially for weather, vendor issues, and technology failures. For team coordination, create a detailed responsibility chart showing who's doing what and when. Share the timeline with everyone involved, team members, vendors, and partners, at least a week before the event. For scheduling, build in buffer time between activities. If your open house starts at 1 p.m., aim to be completely ready by 12:30 p.m., giving you 30 minutes to handle any last-minute issues. After implementing these changes, Coastal Properties reported that their next 3 events went smoothly, despite encountering several potential issues that would have previously derailed them. The lesson? Plan for things to go wrong, because something inevitably will, adapting timelines for different event types. Finally, let's discuss how to adapt your timeline approach for different kinds of real estate events. Open houses require focused, shorter timelines with emphasis on property preparation, signage, and immediate follow-up. For a standard open house, your timeline might look like 2 weeks before, schedule and begin marketing. 1 week before, confirm with sellers, prepare marketing materials. Day before, confirm property condition, prepare handouts. 2 hours before, set up signs, prepare property, turn on lights and music. During scheduled touch points for engaging attendees, immediately after, collect leads, remove signs. 24 hours after, send follow-up emails. Client appreciation events, on the other hand, need longer lead times with emphasis on creating memorable experiences and building relationships. For these events, consider 8 weeks before, concept development, venue research. 6 weeks before, venue booking, initial vendor contacts. 4 weeks before, first invitations, theme development. 2 weeks before, reminder invitations, final vendor confirmations. 1 week before, final guest count, team briefing. Day before, detailed vendor confirmations, materials preparation. Day of extended setup time, greeting protocols. 2 days after, personalized thank you messages. Property launch events require the most comprehensive timelines, particularly focused on marketing buildups and press coordination. These might include 12 weeks before marketing strategy development, 8 weeks before press kit creation, influencer identification, weeks before initial press outreach, marketing material creation, 4 weeks before invitation distribution, website launch, 2 weeks before media follow-up, property final preparations, 1 week before full team briefing, rehearsal if necessary, day of media arrival schedule, VIP coordination, week after press coverage collection, featured property marketing. The key is recognizing that different events have different critical paths and pressure points. Adapt your timeline to emphasize these differences rather than using a one-size-fits-all approach. Let's wrap up what we've covered today. We've discussed why proper event timelines are crucial for real estate professionals, saving you time, reducing stress, and improving your event outcomes. We've explored the core components that make up effective timelines, from pre-event planning to post-event follow-up. We've looked at the tools and templates that can streamline your process, allowing you to build on previous successes rather than starting from scratch. We've identified common timeline pitfalls and provided concrete strategies to avoid them. And finally, we've seen how to adapt your approach for different types of real estate events, recognizing that each requires unique considerations. Remember Barbara Johnson, who increased her open house attendance by 45%, or the Williams team, who reduced costs by 37% while increasing attendance by 28%, or how Coastal Properties turned around their event planning after a disaster. These aren't isolated success stories. They represent what's possible when you approach event planning with intention and structure. I challenge you to implement at least one idea from this video in your next real estate event. Create a template, add buffer time, or develop a contingency plan. Then observe how this small change impacts your experience and results. If you found this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more practical real estate advice. And if you have questions about event planning or other real estate topics, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and here's to your next stress-free, successful real estate event.